Hello world, how are you doing? It's another exciting edition of Mix Sci-Fi TV. I don't know, I'm just going with it. Anyway, we got some cool stuff we're going to be reading to you. Got another story to share with you. We've got all sorts of cool stuff, but I wanted to start out with this. I was recently honored to be part of this. Can we see it there? There we go. It's the Who's Who of 116 Emerging Writers 2020, and yours truly is included in that. It's an amazing book if you want to find out about new independent writers and writers from all over the world. I mean, the whole world, even countries we don't like. They're in here, and you should check it out. You can pick it up on Amazon, and it's a great book. Another book that just came out, and this one I'm really excited about. It's called The Book of Books, catchy title. And what it is a book about books, and it's about 200 books that everybody should be reading that just came out, and yours truly has 2 titles in there. It's got Splice, which is out now and is being read rapidly by people. Seems to have picked up a group of fans on Instagram that I hadn't expected. But they're there. They're nice people, I'm sure. Anyway, they're there, and they like Splice a lot. And the other book that's featured in there is the upcoming Gopri of the Mist. People are anxiously anticipating that, and so am I. Actually, I wonder what it's going to look like when it's done. I have no clue what's going on here now at this point, but I'm excited. It should be fun. I mean, it's been a bit since I wrote it, so when the publisher reached out to me about a transgender character that's in the book, I had to think about it because I forgot that the character was transgender. They just were a character to me. It's kind of how I think. So anyway, we're going to read to you today. Everyone sit down, get yourself a nice little drink. I've got myself a happy tea. I like my tea. All right, so here we go. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to read to you from the cleverly titled, oh boy, here we go. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the classic tale and an anthology of twists, retellings, and sequels. It was put together by a guy named S. Shane Thomas. It is an amazing book. It features authors, again, from all over the world, the big round thing we live on. And everybody had to take their take on what basically Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but you had to redo it, rewrite it, try something different with it. So my take on it was called Hank and Eddy Bro Wars, because I'm down like that. Hank and Eddy Bro Wars. And it's creeped a bunch of people out. So that's kind of what you're aiming for if you're doing the horror thing. You want people to be going, ah! So they did that, and yay me. But I'm going to read to you from that now, and I hope you enjoy it. By the way, I hope you like this new setup. It's kind of cool. I got some tweaking to do, but we're getting there. So it's like you're not watching my ceiling fan. That's exciting. All right, so here we go. Hank and Eddy Bro Wars by Bill McCormick, a.k.a. Bill Mid Sci-Fi. The blood splatter was exquisite. Some might say it was Jackson Pollock-esque. Not him, of course. He hated being compared to amateurs, mere dabblers in paint. They would never understand true art. The intestines, laid magnificently about the room, heightened the breathtaking effect. The organs, formerly wasted on banal functions, were now delicately framed in the lighting and provided the shadow burlesque the scene demanded. No gallery on earth had such a splendid display. The root source of Eddy's current artistic achievement was a nondescript man of middle age, a piddling middle management type, one who'd been looking forward to spending his later years gardening, bowling, and maybe, if all went well, building that H.O. Gage model train rail village with real moss and a small hill he'd always wanted. All things mundane. Now, for perpetuity ever after, he would be something extraordinary. When his body was discovered, it would be talked about in hushed tones of reverence. The boring fat man had truly, finally, and irrevocably transcended his humdrum desires thanks to Eddy's irrepressible talents. Eddy felt a shudder and grimaced. The formula, the baptismal font of all that's good and holy, was wearing off. Unfortunately, he'd have to wait until Hank, his muddling other, made more. The science behind it was beyond him. He knew Hank hated him, but couldn't stop. The power was too glorious, the euphoria too intense. These were joys not easily discarded. The room began to fade, and he smiled. He would be back soon enough. The horror of the stench was paralyzing, the terror of the view appalling, but he knew better than to retch. To give in would be a sign of weakness, and cold experience had taught him he couldn't let his demons see him weak. Hank also knew he had to leave. The authorities, who would eventually come, would never understand. There was nuance in his existence, a subtlety easily lost on the unenlightened. He glanced one more time, pausing to try and comprehend the carnage, shrugged inwardly as he sighed outwardly, and looked for an exit. He found one with a street view, and stopped. He was covered in blood, not his own, and it was broad daylight. He would be noticed. He backed away from the egress and took in his surroundings. He was in a warehouse, one which had not seen workers in some time. The demon had chosen well. The lingering layers of dust were ample proof of that. He noticed a flight of stairs and decided to walk up and see what options presented themselves. His decision was quickly rewarded by a row of lockers filled with work clothes. It took a few minutes, but he finally found a set which fit and didn't have a logo. It was a simple matter to find a working sink and cleanse his skin. 5 minutes later, he was changed. There was even a pair of work boots, scuffed and boring, to complete his ensemble. He folded his suit, resplendent in splatter and gore, and tucked it into a plastic bag. The formula worked. It did all he had asked. But this much was clear. He had not asked enough. He needed to be able to control the result, and obviously, such was not the case. The demon, unleashed, ran free, its base whims writ large in blood. Hank and Eddy, Bro Wars. Fun for the whole family. Sit around and have some marshmallows and make some s'mores and read this out loud. Especially if you have little kids in the room, like 4, 5, 6 years old. Oh, they're just going to love it. There's nothing like disemboweled humans to make little kids go, yay, we like disemboweled humans, love disemboweled. I learned that at Sunday school. All right, so I thank you for playing along. I'm glad you are here. You are all wonderful people. And stick around. Next week we'll have another exciting edition of Mix Sci-Fi TV.